Hi, Julia Barzyk here from Wise Investigator. I want you to think a little bit today about your default audience. So, if you're at an early career stage, you're a PhD student, you're a postdoc, a research scientist, or you now are an assistant professor at a university, this is a time when your default audience should change. And no one really usually helps people make this adjustment. So, this is why I'm making these videos and getting this information out there. So when you are in grad school, when you're in training, when you're doing your postdoc, generally the people that you're surrounded by are people who are working in very similar research areas to yours. So when you start a conversation, you can get right into the technical stuff and be in the weeds with them, and that's a great conversation. And it's appropriate that this is your world and these are the people that you're interacting with most at this stage because you need to master the technical details. And again, it's appropriate. This is part of your training. But when you move on to that next career stage, basically overnight, your default audience should change. So when you start opening your mouth to talk about your research, you should assume that you're talking to people who really have no idea about what you're doing, and most importantly, what the impact of what you're doing is. So you should start out with very, very broad type statements about what your research is helping to advance. For example, how broad am I talking about? Very broad topics like climate change resilience or heart disease or making better batteries or improved computational speed. So this is what level you want to start at, and then from there work down into the more technical aspects of what you're doing. So why is this? Well, it's so that people that you interact with can understand why what you're doing is important, and because a lot of times if they don't know what you're talking about, they actually won't speak up because there's not a lot of time, it's not convenient, they're not thinking of the right questions to ask you, or they think they understand, but they're actually missing how important your work could be, or they don't want to look dumb, right? So they don't want to ask a question, especially in a group that would be seen as indicating they don't know something they should know. So there's a lot more that I could get into here, and I will in future videos talk about how you can start framing your research in this more broad way so people understand the impact. But let me know what questions you have on the research funding process and put that in the comments. Send me a DM. Thanks, guys.